following program is intended for mature audiences.
You're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports.
Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes.
And download every episode and more at basicallyasportsshow.com.
Now here's your hosts, Zach,
Greg,
Mike.
And you're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
So what did you think of the Rogue One trailer, gentlemen?
Oh, it looked pretty cool.
Oh my god, looks so awesome.
Yeah, looked good.
Like they got the details down of like the Episode 4 era Star Destroyers, and you see the dish going in. The thing that really got me was that sold me on the entire Enterprise. Not to cross metaphors, Enterprise, but the shot of them running on the beach with the walkers, the AT-ATs, shooting down at them and walking towards them. I was like, "Yep, you got me set. That's great. I love it."
From the first scene of that trailer, they even got like the Episode 4 1970s era Rebel soldier uniform down.
Yeah, the Yavin base looks great.
Is that a new actress for Mon Mothma? Because
I think it's the one they used because she showed up in Episode 3.
Barely, yeah, but she was there.
Yeah, I think they used the same actress.
Because she's almost a dead ringer for the actress who played her in Jedi.
I thought it was the actress.
No, I don't think.
She'd be really old by now, but it was a dead ringer for sure.
Well, I mean, I thought the same about Palpatine, but I guess he looked fine.
Well, let's see, Jedi came out in 83, so that's almost 30. What? It's 23 years ago. It's possible.
33 years ago, Greg.
I was only off by a decade. That's not bad.
The other thing, though, I thought was really cool about the trailer is they ended it with a mashup of the Imperial March played over like a different arrangement of the Star Wars theme, like the music. And it melded pretty well together. And I'm like, yep, I need this in my life already.
When is this one due to come out?
December.
Oh, God, that'll be cool.
They're going to be putting out a movie every single year for the foreseeable future.
Nice. Well, hopefully they'll all be good, but yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. I mean, they have this, and then like they had Episode 7 last year, or the Rogue One this year. Episode 8 is supposed to be in 2 years. So I think next year is supposed to be the Han Solo movie, right?
Yeah, the next one is going to be the Han Solo movie. Wow. I'm not sure. And then I've heard that the next sort of anthology one is going to be a Boba Fett solo movie.
Yeah, I've heard rumors for Boba Fett for a lot of people, and it seems like Ewan McGregor would be down for it. Would be like an Obi-Wan Kenobi trilogy. Mm-hmm. Some people would be down for like the Adventures of Obi-Wan Kenobi.
The Adventures of Obi-Wan Kenobi on Tatooine.
Right, yeah. Well, because, I mean, he was doing something. He wasn't just sitting around, right?
I like to think that, most of the time, old Ben was just sitting out front on his porch in Tatooine with, like, wearing, like, plaid shorts and, like, a Hawaiian T-shirt, and he was just, like, sitting back with, like, sunglasses.
And in this episode of The Adventures of Obi-Wan Kenobi, old Ben goes to the store at Mos Eisley to get some bread.
Right.
Anyway.
And then he runs into, like, 15-year-old Luke or something.
And they just kind of look at each other and keep going, and that's it.
Hello, Luke. Getting those power converters again?
I want to go to Tashi Station and get some power converters. Anyway.
Yeah, it's this is a charmed life from a certain point of view. Yeah, sure it has been.
All right.
But yeah.
It looks good. I want to see it.
I'm just excited to be living in this Star Wars world that we're in now, where we're going to get these movies once a year, every year. The Rebel show is supposedly really good.
The Rebels is really good.
Yeah, I know they had like the season 2 finale, and I saw bits of the ultimate climactic battle with Ashoka Tano or whatever.
Yeah, and, I would go so far as to say Rebels is better than Clone Wars.
Yeah, I think of the 3D animated ones, I think it's better. I actually don't like I prefer the cartoon Clone Wars to the animation Clone Wars.
That cartoon Clone Wars, though, that is its own kind of thing. Like it's got a very unique sort of style to it. It's almost like story is a distant second. It's just pure action.
Right.
I don't know. I never really cared much about Clone Wars because it's like, well, I know how it ends for these characters. Like Anakin is gonna become Darth Vader, like that. Like you're not gonna change that. Whereas with Rebels, because it's like new characters in this very, unexplored area of time, it's just like, well, anything can happen. So it's more exciting, I think.
Yeah, and I think that's why the action-based Clone Wars thing made more sense, or it worked a little bit better, because we know that the Clone Wars was a battle that was contested, and we see the conclusion of the battle. Mm-hmm. We see the start of the war, and we see the end of the war. I don't really need to see the middle of it, other than just show me some cool stuff. I don't need character development and Anakin having a Padawan and that sort of thing. And the other thing that's hard too is in the Clone Wars animated show, Anakin is supposed to be the protagonist.
Yeah.
But how are we supposed to root for Darth Vader?
Yeah, it's really hard to root for Anakin in the Clone Wars show when you know that,
he's just gonna end up murdering children.
Yeah, in 1 year's time, in universe, he's just gonna murder a bunch of children.
Well, it sounds like it has the same problem the prequels had. I mean, even you knew where we all watched the prequels for one thing, and that was to see him turn into Darth Vader. That was it. The rest of it really didn't matter. And now that we've seen all that, I can't imagine the Clone Wars just cutting out that part of the story. If you already know how everything's going to go, I mean, you're right. It's just got not going to be terribly interesting.
It's this, I don't know, Clone Wars is just sort of, I'm very meh on it, and I like everything. Rebels so far has been entertaining. I even like the toothpick lightsabers. They're cool. Everyone else just needs to
those are weird. In the show, I don't know if you've seen any of the pictures, Greg, but the lightsabers are modeled very, very thin.
Yeah, I've seen it.
But I guess they're modeled on the original concept drawings for
the Ralph McQuarrie concept art. Yeah,
well,
which
on,
it just doesn't work for me.
I think Clone Wars is on Netflix, or it was, because I tried to watch a couple episodes of it, but I just couldn't get into it.
I hope they put Rebels on Netflix too, because I'm not going to take the time to find out what channel Disney XD is on my TV station.
Oh, I haven't been. I've just been watching it. I've just been watching it illegally through streaming sites.
How dare you?
I don't feel it's Disney, so I don't feel too bad about it.
They've got enough money already. Who cares?
It's true. It's very true.
But yeah, it's Rebels is modeled at the whole art design of the series is modeled after the Ralph McQuarrie concept art. The lightsaber blades are thin. Darth Vader shows up in the series and is actually voiced by James Earl Jones, which is cool. But Darth Vader in the series is very much modeled after the angry eyebrows version of his helmet that Ralph McQuarrie drew. There's an astromech droid who's based on the original concept art for R2-D2, and there's an alien in the show who's based off the original concept art for Chewbacca. So it's very leaning into that source material. So
it's retro.
It is very retro.
Star Wars retro.
But it's cool though, because Vader shows up and they get James Earl Jones to voice him, and Lando Calrissian shows up and they actually have Billy D. Williams voice him.
It's kind of sad in a way, though, too, because both of those guys are really great, and it gives you an idea of where their careers are, because if they were still happening, they wouldn't be doing the voiceovers for that. I mean, let's just be honest about it. I mean, they obviously they're getting paid, and you want to get paid, but it's kind of a shame. Well, it's cool, but it's still kind of a shame.
They only show up for a few episodes here and there, which makes me think that they still are demanding a pretty big price tag, and Disney's just whatever.
Yeah, that you don't want. You want it to be its own entity as a show. You don't want the main villain to be Darth Vader, because here's the thing: the problem that we said with the prequels, he doesn't die.
Yeah, you can't. The one thing that Rebels does is, because they can't have Vader as the villain for a variety of reasons, they have these Inquisitors who are dark side users who Vader trains.
These asinine lightsaber helicopter thing.
Yeah, they're like it's like
How
look, Darth
is propelled upwards by a beam of light, like as a helicopter blade.
It makes no sense. It's really goddamn stupid, and I always sort of liked the idea that like Vader and Palpy were like the only two dark side users at the time. So I'm like, who are these schlubs? Like, I don't know. They're not.
I never liked that they were like it was always just those two. I thought it would be more like there would be like you have the Jedi Knights who are all users of the light side of the Force. Then you needed to have the equal number of dark side users to make it interesting to me.
Well, this is a bit of a nerd tangent, but way back when in the Star Wars universe, the Sith Order was pretty big.
Yeah,
but eventually
in
Knights of the Old Republic, yeah. But then they kind of, because Sith philosophy is just based on accumulating power and embracing emotions like jealousy and anger, they all just ended up backstabbing each other into oblivion.
Well, it had to go that way, right?
So there was only like one Sith left after like they had pretty much wiped themselves out, and that was a guy by the name of Darth Bane. And he's like, okay, we're gonna start this over from the beginning without the backstabbing. So from now on, there's only going to be one master and one apprentice at any one time.
Except for the fact the apprentice always finds another apprentice and then kills the master, is what it happens.
It's inherent into using the dark side of the Force. It's always going to be that way. You just can't get around it.
I mean, I started playing the Star Wars: The Old Republic online mostly because it's free, and it's set during the era when there's basically a large Sith Order and a large Jedi Order fighting each other, and I have the character I play is on the Sith side, and the entire thing is basically just like, oh, you're someone's apprentice. Here's 20 levels worth of story of how you're going to stab them in the back. Oh, you stabbed him in the back. Now you get an apprentice. Better watch out. He's probably going to try to kill you. Oh, look, he tried to kill you. And there's this one hilarious scene where, like, you kill your Sith master, and, like, this other Sith comes down, and he's like, you think you're just going to get his rank? That's not how it works. I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's how it works.
I'm pretty sure they've established that's what happened, yeah. But, yeah, it's a great Star Wars world to live in right now.
It really is. I take it you both have watched... I take it you both have watched Force Awakens again since it's come out on Blu-ray?
I have, yeah.
Yes.
I have not yet. Yeah. I'm waiting. I don't know what I'm waiting for, but I'm waiting.
The big thing that I missed in the theaters is that C-3PO actually does get his golden arm back by the end of the movie.
Right.
He does?
Why?
Yeah.
Yeah, in the final scene when they're waving goodbye, he has his gold arm back.
Okay.
But didn't have it earlier, like not even like 20 minutes earlier. When
but doesn't
R2 shows up the map.
Doesn't he address it though when he runs into R2? He says something about his arm and doesn't he?
He says it when he runs it when he sees Han Solo. He's like, "You probably don't remember me because you probably don't recognize me because of my red arm." And then he's like, "I've got to get my arm back" or something like that. Yeah,
you don't recognize my red arm, which I need because I need to sell more new toys. And if you make me gold, you can just use old toys. Pretty much.
You're so cynical, Blake. So
this
cynical.
Come on, Mike. We're people that grew up in the age of Batman and Robin and Batman Forever, where they had costume changes mid-movie just to sell more toys.
It's like Batman. I need this. Now I need the suit with the silver bat symbol on it.
My nephew, my 8-year-old nephew is really big into Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Mm-hmm. And he came up to visit a couple weeks back over at my mom's, and we went over there, and I took him to Walmart because it was right around his birthday, and I wanted to buy him something for his birthday. And he's like in the section with the Mutant Ninja Turtles, and he's like, no, this is the wrong one because the belt's the wrong color. And it was crazy just how many differences in these toys there are, and he knew all of them.
Those
future CCSLC member.
What?
Yeah, he's a good potential CCSLC
He really
member.
is. He really is because he was spotting things and I'm going, oh.
The Browns changed the pattern on their striped socks. Instant downgrade.
Leonardo doesn't wear that belt. Terrible throwback.
That's what he was looking at. He wanted throwback Mutant Ninja Turtles, and he said, I need Raphael. And I said, well, here's Raphael. He's like, no, that's the wrong belt. That's not the belt you wore back then. I'm like, okay. And I mean, I appreciate that. I'm like, okay, fine. I'm not going to argue with you about it.
I mean, let's face it, Greg. Given the company you associate with online, you are not one to criticize anyone else for obsessing over the smallest of details.
No, and my brother and my girlfriend and my sister-in-law, they're all like, I can't. But what's the difference? I'm like, oh, it's important. These are important distinctions. You've got to understand this. Yeah.
It's the reason that those are out too, by the way, is because on the new Ninja Turtles cartoon, they did some sort of thing where the turtles found like a time warp or dimension thing, and they sent themselves back to the 80s. And when they go back in time, they're 2D drawings with the old, like in their current styles, with the old style turtles. And the old style turtles managed to like come through the portal with them, and then they transform into the modern like 3D animated type looking things. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, he's way into Star Wars too. Not to the level of the Mutant Ninja Turtles, but he's way into Star Wars too. So he's a good kid.
And now there's a new Michael Bay Mutant Ninja Turtle movie because
we needed Megan Fox as April O'Neil one more time.
Oh God, yeah, but this one's got Bebop and Rocksteady. I might see it just for them.
God, but they look so bad.
The turtles look bad.
The turtles are bad. Bebop and Rocksteady are bad.
And Shredder's bad.
Krang's in it.
And Krang already looked kind of bad if we're going to be perfectly honest about it.
Yeah, it's a talking brain inside the stomach of a robot. Like,
a really special needs looking robot too.
The short bus robot.
Yeah, I mean that was the one turtle like enemy that I never understood.
Shredder should be good enough, right? Because like he looks cool.
Yeah. I also never understood why they had like a rolling Death Star underneath the ground of New York City somehow, but that exists too. Anyway,
speaking of bad movies, is going to be a bit board centric, but just wanted to mention it. DG now, defender of Batman and Robin, is also now defender of the Star Wars prequels.
Yeah,
why am I not surprised that asshole is? Don't even get me started. I don't even want to talk about him. I'll get pissed off.
I didn't even want to like wade into that conversation because he even prefaced it. He's like, I know a lot of you are gonna like. I'm trying to bring up different points so people don't say that. Oh well, obviously you're the contrarian asshole that likes Batman and Robin. Of course you like the prequels. Mm-hmm. It's like, well, yeah, actually, yeah.
Wait, he likes the movie Batman and Robin?
Yes.
The movie that killed Batman for the better part of a decade.
What does he like about it?
He thinks it's fun.
He thinks it's a good throwback to the Adam West Batman.
But it's not. That's the thing. It's not. It's not
just
even
a shitty movie.
It's just a shitty movie. Exactly. There's nothing charming about it. There's nothing campy about it like the original series. There's nothing at all. It's just horrible. They played hockey, for God's sakes. Now, that's a good thing under most circumstances, but not in this movie.
The Bat credit card which expires in forever.
So it said Batman Forever on it?
God, God.
And bat nipples. We had bat nipples.
Yes.
Bat nipples on everyone except Batgirl.
Well, they're faint, but they're there.
Oh, are they? Okay.
There was a definite indentation where the areola would be. Like, I'm not.
That guy, he's just. I'm sorry, and you know what? If you listen to the show, DG, well, first off, fuck you, and secondly, just come on. That's just trolling. That's just. There's no way. I can't imagine. And I don't like the guy, but he seems fairly intelligent. There's no way he likes that movie. Really, he's just doing this just to get people to pay attention to him.
I mean, I posted a response, but honestly, the best response to anyone who says they like the prequels, just go watch Red Letter Media. And, like, I don't want to seem like, oh, I let them do my thinking for me, but those reviews are probably the most comprehensive takedown of those movies, like, anywhere else.
Yeah, I mean, Star Wars Men has done a good job. They've tried to be, they've called it the Phantom Menaissance, like, they've tried to be nice. But sometimes you just can't avoid it. Sometimes you're just like, yeah, this is pretty much garbage.
I jumped ahead. I jumped ahead to listen to like the first couple episodes of Phantom Menace, and I noticed that they were being nice to it. Then I returned to my catching up through Jedi. But apparently they just at some point it's like, no, sometimes you just can't be nice.
Well, and like they also they have guests every week, and like some of these people are like, no, like I know that you're trying to be nice and you're trying to find the good things and find the silver lining, but sometimes there are scenes where there just is not silver lining.
This is unmitigated garbage. No.
There isn't always two sides to a story. Sometimes it's just bad and there's no way around it. Just as simple as that.
I did find it really interesting that apparently the kid who played Charlie Conway was tapped to play older Anakin before they decided to make him an 8-year-old kid.
Josh Jackson. That's definitely an interesting idea.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god!
I mean, it's probably a better idea because, like, the way that, again, going back to just the original movie, the way that Obi-Wan talks about how, like, when he met Anakin, you get the feeling that they were closer in age, like when they met.
The feeling that they were closer in age, that there was a more direct relationship. That. It just, and that's part of the thing that gets brought up a lot, at least on the conversations, is if you go back to the original movies, some things that the prequels do just don't make sense. They contradict it. They just flat out contradict what was originally said. And
oh my God,
it's
yes.
Sometimes.
Yeah. I mean,
but
no bigger way than midi-chlorians. Come on.
Well, I think there's a way for them to have used that, but it wasn't the way that they did it.
Although it is worth noting that they didn't even mention midi-chlorians once in The Force Awakens. So like, nope.
No. And that's the thing. I mean, it was like this. That was supposedly this mystical thing that was just there. You know, I mean, basically like God is in our real world here. And then all of a sudden, in the Phantom Menace, it's measurable, where it never had been in 3 movies prior.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, it's like, well, he's got a lot of midi-chlorians. It's like, what the fuck? No. He's either got it or he doesn't.
There's some theories that have been put out, or that it will to kind of make it more palatable. It's not that the midi-chlorians like allow someone to. It's not like the midi-chlorians are the Force. It's that they're like conduits through which it flows. I don't know. And the other theory that I actually like a little better is that, much in the way that sometimes scientists make up theories and those theories are proven wrong, this is just a current Jedi theory on how the Force works. It's not proven. But Qui-Gon is some like believer that, no, I really like this theory. So Qui-Gon's all about it, but some Jedi are probably like, yeah, there's that Qui-Gon again telling us about the midichlorians, like, like he's a crazy old man.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Anyway.
But the two things that were in the original drafts, which I think would have made it 100 times better, was making Anakin like 13 instead of 8.
Yeah, I was really disappointed he was that young. That was kind of a setback.
Well, that was changed late in the process too. He was going to be a 13-year-old, and that would have made so much more sense, regarding Padme and just regarding.
It would have made
Obi-Wan.
It would have meant that you could have started the Padme-Anakin relationship right off the bat.
Right. And then the other thing, which I think is cool too, originally Obi-Wan was going to do all the stuff that Qui-Gon does early on. Like the first part of the movie, until they get to Coruscant, Qui-Gon wasn't even going to be there. They weren't even going to meet Qui-Gon Jinn until they got to Coruscant. It was going to be Obi-Wan that went to Naboo, Obi-Wan to discover Anakin, and all that sort of stuff. But I guess, again, late in the process, when they wanted Liam Neeson to play Qui-Gon Jinn, but they just assumed that they weren't going to get him for too long. That it's like, oh, well, he'll agree to be here for a little while, but we're not going to be able to get him to do the whole movie for us. And then Liam Neeson was like, no, I'll be in the whole movie. And they're like, oh, really? Okay, fine. Well, then we're going to change this stuff around.
Let's just give us a minute to screw up the entire movie. Then hold on 1 second.
I'm going to go off a bit on this is kind of veering into completely rewriting it. But first of all, I would have actually made Owen actually Anakin's brother.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have had Anakin be a slave or anything. Basically, I would have had they land on Naboo. 13-year-old Anakin meets Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan can sense that he's strong in the Force, and he tries to convince him to go with him, and like just have like maybe Owen be like the older brother who's very like, I'm gonna take over the farm from Pa or something like that, and then he's like, no, you can't go, Anakin, and then Anakin decides to go, and then that sort of set up why Uncle Owen didn't want Luke to go in Episode 4. That's how I would have seen it.
Again, and it would, because when you go back to Episode 4. Like, you know, he doesn't want him to be anything like his father. Owen knows nothing about Anakin.
Right.
Like you got the sense though from Episode 4 that, you know, Owen had seen Anakin make these mistakes and he didn't want Luke to make the same ones.
Exactly. It was this assumption that you made that he did know him very well and didn't want him to be a thing like him, and then you find out that
he met him a day.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. No, sorry. It just.
Oh, God.
This is why you can never leave George Lucas to his own devices. You just can't do it. It can't be done, ever.
Well, thankfully he's not in control anymore, although he's very bitter about that.
Well, he'll get over it.
Speaking of which, I believe we have we have some glorious tournament of victory news to get in on.
We have a champion, gentlemen, in the glorious tournament of victory. Well, we'd like to move on and analyze the championship match.
Sure thing.
All right. So we're going to talk a little Glorious Tournament of Victory 2016 edition.
Woo.
We're going to go back and talk about the Final Four before we get to the championship, right?
Of course.
Okay, well, we had, we'll go through the matchups again really quick. From the What It Means to Be a Cleveland Brown region, we had number 2 seed Chimp Mariachi Band taking on number 11 seed Anti-Trump Bald Eagle. And, that was the Anti-Trump Bald Eagle from the Sentinel Prime Memorial Region of Excellence, of course. And in the other final, in the Final Four, we had from the GD Batman Memorial Region, BB-8 Thumbs Up Lighter taking on from the Admiral Self-Esteem Region, number 12 seed, Helen Keller, Astrida del Officer. And those were your Final Four matchups.
Oh, man, I'm so kind of devastated by the BB-8 loss to Helen Keller on a Dilophosaur. Just Helen Keller on a Dilophosaur, the candidate that took a life of its own. You know, one of those happens every year, and it was very clear that this was it. And you know, as much as I was happy to see BB-8 beat King Cake Baby back in the Elite or the Egregious Eights,
mm-hmm.
I had always had the thought that yes, I think I would like BB-8 to win, but I thought King Cake Baby had the better shot at winning the entire thing.
I thought, honestly, that BB-8, I mean, you mentioned it earlier, Zach, we are living in a fantastic Star Wars world. I thought that momentum would be enough to carry BB-8 through to the finals, at least.
Maybe if it was actually BB-8 and not just the thumbs up, if it would have been BB-8 as a whole. But
I think BB-8 as a whole probably rolls through this thing, no pun intended. And the interesting thing about both of these matches is that early on in the voting, both losers in each match held pretty substantial leads. And they and it was a comeback, especially in the BB-8 versus Helen Keller Astrida del Officer. BB-8 jumped out to a pretty nice lead early. Helen Keller caught up. It was tied for a while. The board voting came into play, and I thought that's going to be the difference. That's going to put BB-8 over the top. But surprisingly, Helen Keller got the votes from the boards. And
the boards love Helen Keller.
And then a couple more votes came in on the online vote, and that was the difference. The final score, I've only got the online voting in front of me, but I know it was very tight. I want to say maybe by 2 or 3 votes, BB-8 loses. So it was a very close match all the way through.
Yeah, the final he lost by 1 vote.
Yeah. Because when the board votes started coming in, I thought that was going to make the difference. That was going to put him over the top. But again, the boards never go the way you expect them to.
Oh no! You can't just expect the boards to go a certain way. They have a life of their own.
Because conversely, the Anti-Trump Bald Eagle had a pretty nice, not a big lead, I'd say 4 or 5 votes, and it looked like the board voting was going to be what put the Chimp Mariachi Band over the top. That turned out to be the case, plus more votes came in for Chimp Mariachi Band towards the end and made the final score not quite as close, but still both very, very close matches. So the Final Four, despite blowouts throughout pretty much the rest of the rounds, the Final Four lived up to its final billing, as they say.
Yeah, Chimp won by 5, and now we get a second straight matchup of a historical figure riding a dangerous thing against the Chimp Conference.
Chimp Conference in their 3rd of 4 Glorious Tournament Victory Final championship match.
Could this be the time where the chimp finally breaks through? I don't know the results, but I have faith in the chimp. I think this is the chimp's time.
I've got to disagree. This is a case of the San Jose Sharks or St. Louis Blues. I cannot in good conscience pick the chimp until it proves me wrong. They have to win before I can even consider them a serious contender.
Well, unlike the two you mentioned, at least the chimp has gotten there.
That's twice now throughout the run here that Mike's been reminded that he has yet to make a championship round in this thing. You know what, though? I really thought anti-Trump Bald Eagle, I thought would be. I knew that the Chimp Mariachi Band had a tough road the rest of the way because they had to take out the anti-Trump Bald Eagle, and then they would have to beat Helen Keller. And I thought there's just one of those is going to take them out. I really thought it would be the anti-Trump Bald Eagle. It almost was, but they managed to find their way into the championship yet again. Third time in 4 years, the Chimp Conference has put a representative in the championship match. But again, it was kind of like last year where they showed up against a entrant that just gained momentum as it went along and went along. By the time you got to the championship, you thought, you know what? This just isn't going to happen. So that's where I was at going into the championship match. That we, again, have an historical figure writing a thing. We saw what Teddy Roosevelt Estrada Warwick did last year. Helen Keller had the same kind of momentum. Not quite as dominant, but did manage to get there again. So here we are, the championship. Are we ready for the result? Mike says,
I'm ready.
Mike says
I'm
Helen
excited.
Keller.
I'm bracing myself.
Zach says Chimp Mariachi Band wins the championship. The Chimp Mariachi Band, the third of 3 Chimp Conference participants to make the final. Would this be the year? Well, here's how it played out. Helen Keller, Estrada Estrada Dilophosaurus came in, big lead out of the gate. But after 3 tries, it finally happened, folks. Chimp Mariachi Band cruises to an easy win in the championship. The Chimp Conference is celebrating. Chimp Mariachi Band, your 2016 Glorious Tournament of Victory champions, the Chimp Mariachi Band.
The confetti and poo fall from the rafters. Feces are flying. What a victory! What an event! The Chimp Conference.
They finally do it. I think it was, you know what I think happened? I think you guys were so rough on them and it just inspired them. And it was, honestly, one of the most dominant performances start to finish we've ever had in this tournament. It was not quite GD Batman level of dominance from start to finish, but they were never really challenged throughout this whole thing. They stormed their way through. So congratulations, Chimp Conference. They finally did it. The GTOV 2016 championship banner comes to the What It Means to Be a Cleveland Brown Conference, and I couldn't be happier. There you go.
First time, right?
First time
yep. For your region.
Yep, the Chimp Conference. Let me get the final score here really quick.
That means, Mike, you are now the only conference or only region yet to win a GTOV.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no. We are going to fire the play-by-play guy. That's the first step. That's step 1.
Well, right.
And we think that's really going to lead to some positive changes.
Final score, if you add in the board votes, which I believe were... Oh, I've got to get there really quick here. Let me add them up really quick.
The Chimp Mariachi Band, now the champ.
1.
Or could we say
2.
The chimp.
4. Okay, so the Chimp Mariachi Band, final score over Helen Keller, Estrada Dilophosaurus. Final score 26-15. Chimp Mariachi Band is putting the beat down on the Helen Keller, Estrada Dilophosaurus.
That was... That is shocking. I didn't think it would be that much of a blowout.
I didn't either. I really thought they were done when they ran. I figured that I'm surprised they got past the anti-Trump Bald Eagle. And when I'm like, oh my God, they're gonna have to play Helen Keller, Estrada Dilophosaurus. I thought it's over, but they just they were relentless, man, and just they finished the deal, and the championship comes to the Chimp Conference.
Stanley Cup Playoffs start this week. Start on Wednesday.
And
Can't
I'll
wait.
be the first to point out that the Detroit Red Wings are back. Again.
Clinch their 25th consecutive playoff berth.
How many is this?
25.
25.
It's literally exhausting at this point.
And I've said it.
The Red Wings missed the playoffs. I was but a few two and a half months old.
I think I was 3. Yeah,
and like I've told you guys a bunch of times before throughout the years, to me, the team that when I became aware of NHL hockey, the Detroit Red Wing team that I kind of grew up with, for them to make the playoffs 25 years in a row, if you told me that, say, 26 years ago, I would have laughed in your face. That's just simply never going to happen. They were so terrible. They were like, well, I don't know if they were Oilers level of bad, but they were really, really bad. So this is just something I just can't get over it. But yeah. And we don't have the matchups exactly yet, do we? But we know all the teams.
The only ones that we're missing are the Pacific Division, but the Ducks are up, like I said, 2-0 with 30 seconds left in the second period against Washington here. So unless there's some collapse, it looks like the Ducks will win the Pacific Division, and then they will take on Nashville in the first round. But let's look at the East, where it's a little bit more solidified, if I could open it up here. So over in the Eastern Conference, your number 1 seed in a runaway is the Washington Capitals. They win the Metro Division by a good 16 points over the Penguins. They will be hosts in the first round to a team that they were 26 points the senior of, the Philadelphia Flyers, who got in at the last possible minute there yesterday. They beat the Penguins at home to clinch a playoff spot. Penguins, Caps, Flyers in the Metro.
Didn't we, back at the beginning of the season, think that the Flyers were probably not going to make the playoffs this year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
No, they got a great first-year performance by rookie head coach Dave Haxtell. Came in from University of North Dakota, and just an unbelievable performance by the rookie defenseman Shane Gostisbehere. Ghost Bear, gotta be here, however you want to say it. It's Shane Gostisbehere. He's been amazing for them on the back end, and the Flyers have been gritty and gutty, and they've got themselves in there. They split the season series with the Caps 2-2, if that matters to anybody.
Well, it could be important. It could not mean anything. It just depends.
The Capitals are on track to have one of the best regular seasons of all time. 56 wins. Braden Holtby tied Martin Brodeurs' record for goalie wins in a season.
He's probably not going to break it.
Well, he's not playing tonight.
Oh, he's not? Okay, no.
So he's sitting at the tie. But here's the thing with the Capitals. We know their history, right?
Yep.
So
Yeah.
the Flyers, who are hot, the Capitals have not played a meaningful game in months. They haven't been close to the season all that great. The Flyers had to fight for every inch to get in the playoffs. If in another stat I heard, the Capitals are terrible in first periods of the season somehow.
Mm-hmm.
But if the Flyers come in and they get the jump on the Capitals quickly, winning a game maybe, or winning 2 games, the panic is going to set in immediately for the Capitals. Even if they lose that first game. They could say, oh, no, we're confident we can get it. We're a really good team. That's not how the fans are going to feel. That's not how the media is going to treat them. They lose one game, then they're going to piss their pants all of a sudden.
People say that stuff doesn't matter, like with a team, but it does. If they come into the series, and let's say that if Philly takes the first game, you're right. Then the media, everybody, the fans, here we go again, right out of the gate. And you can't tell me that doesn't affect the team because that entire atmosphere is surrounding you. And it's everywhere you go. If you look at a newspaper, you watch a television, like a sports show, you listen to the radio, it's all going to be there. You can't. I'm sorry, it gets in their heads. It's going to. So they need to come out and just put the hammer down right away and win this thing quick, because otherwise you never know how these things.
Well, I mean,
these things take on a half-life, man, and the next thing you know, you're San Jose.
I mean, that's what they've got to do. But Zach brings up that it is the perfect storm of event. It is the perfect storm for them to have another first-round exit because, look, haven't played a meaningful game in months, playing a hot Flyers team that probably is going to go into the series with something to prove. It seems almost too perfect for the Capitals to just derp.
Yeah. But by the same token, sometimes when you look at it like that and you say, okay, this is like the perfect storm, it turns out not to be. So we'll see. But it'll be interesting. I had no idea the Flyers were – I just I haven't been following it that closely this year because my team was out of it, I don't know, about 5 games into the season. So
Yep. No, the Flyers able to squeak in there in that last wild card spot to end up playing the Capitals. Yeah, great. You had a great end of your regular season. You get to play one of the best regular season teams of the last, 50 years. So we can look at that. I think on the Ducks broadcast, and I think they mentioned that the Capitals are also the first team since the 75-76 Montreal Canadiens, regarded by some as the best team of all time. The Caps are the first team since then to not lose 2 consecutive games in regulation all season.
Wow.
So,
and you said they're not that good in the first period, huh?
They have a -4 goal differential in the first period, yeah.
Oh,
but then in the second and third periods, their goal differential is off the, is pretty high. So who knows? It's just one of those things where if Philly can come in even in just game one and they can get like 2 goals in the first period, then the Capitals' fingers start to tighten up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see.
And
the other matchup,
I was just going to say too. Don't forget too, the Capitals also have this hanging around their neck, which would be the President's Trophy. Now, not always an indicator of future performance, but a lot of times it is. So, okay, go ahead.
The other matchup in the Metro is one that we've seen before. We've seen it last season and season before that. The Penguins, they got the second seed. They rocketed up the standings late in the year. Actually, they started to get better once Evgeny Malkin went down, which is strange. But they rocketed up the standings.
It's the Ewing theory, man.
Metro. They will play Greg's New York Rangers in the first round in the Metro Division. Penguins finished with 104 points. Rangers at 101. Penguins won the season series 3-1. So Phil Kessel's first season in Pittsburgh ends up with a playoff berth. What do you think?
I don't know. The Penguins. It's been interesting for the Penguins. I'm going to say that I'm going to give it to Pittsburgh. I think honestly they've just proven themselves more so this season. This Penguins team with Kessel is sort of they're not the Penguins team of old necessarily. I think they've got a bit more to them this year, and really the Rangers haven't really impressed me. The Rangers are sort of getting into Capitals, Sharks, Blues territory where they've had a lot of really good teams, and at a certain point you just have to go, win something, and they haven't.
Yeah,
I agree. I mean, now granted, I haven't followed them in a couple of years, but they made the finals 2 years ago? They played. Was that the year? Yeah.
They played the Kings, yeah.
But, I looked at that team then. Now, I haven't seen them this year, really, so I can't really say for sure. But at no point did I ever look at them and say, that's a Stanley Cup champion team. I mean, I can't get what you're saying, Mike. I just want to say, too, that I brought this up when you said Malkin went down and the Penguins are playing better. Is that the Ewing theory? And perhaps, I mean, is that one of those things where maybe they are really better without him?
Well, it's what happened was when Malkin went down, that moved Nick Bonino, the center, up to playing with Phil Kessel, and Phil Kessel started to take off. Kessel had been on Malkin's line. Now, Kessel is a guy that likes to shoot the puck when he gets it. And playing with a center like Evgeny Malkin, who likes to have the puck on his stick more often than not, and if you're the Penguins, you want Evgeny Malkin to be playing around with the puck, Kessel wasn't great. And that's why, Nick Bonino is very similar to someone Mike's familiar with, Tyler Bozak.
Mm-hmm.
He's a guy he's just there to give Phil the puck. And Nick Bonino can win faceoffs and play, hard in the corners. Did that for the Ducks for a long time. And he can play just his role and just keep feeding the puck to Phil Kessel, and Kessel can shoot, and he's been able to score a lot as of late.
So Bonino's more of like a center, like he's more concerned with like assists and just setting, like a point guard center, more like, for lack of a better term. More so than Malkin is, where Malkin's more like a scorer type.
Right. Malkin is a possession type center. He's obviously a huge guy, likes to hold on to the puck and make his own room and score himself. So it's kind of interesting. It's hard to say that if you're the Penguins that you don't want Evgeny Malkin around, or that when he comes back it's going to be hard to fit him into the lineup. But it's going to be hard for the Penguins to fit him into the lineup in a positive way. Well, maybe the Penguins also changed coaches midway through the season. They got rid of Mike Johnston and replaced him with Mike Sullivan, who Johnston was a little more buckle down type coach, wanted to play defensively and collapse. And Sullivan's come in and let them kind of play a little bit more free-flowing, up and down, fast-paced hockey. And that's put up the goal numbers for guys like Crosby and for Kessel. You know, I saw Phil Kessel smile the other day. It was a rumor, but I saw it happen.
Look at it. You put Phil Kessel in a position where he doesn't need to be the guy, and he seems much more relaxed, and he's able to thrive.
That happens a lot in every sport. He's a good player, but he's just not the guy. He's not he's not your main guy. He's a good complementary player. That kind of diminishes his role, I think, when you call him a complimentary player. But you're right. I think he flourishes when he doesn't have to be the guy that carries the entire load. And I think we talked about that at the beginning of the season, and it turns out to be the case, I guess.
Mm-hmm. And with the Rangers, at least this version of the Rangers, I have no opinion on them. There's
they're
nothing
fine.
about this Rangers team that
they
jumps out at me that says they're a dangerous team, or they're solid defensively. It's just you got Henrik Lundqvist. They picked up. They have both the two stalls now, Mark and Eric. Rick Nash didn't have as good of a season as he did last year, but I don't know. It's what you're going to get for the Rangers. I think
they are fine. That is what I mean. They are a fine team, and I know that seems really lacking in analysis, but that's what they are. They are a fine team, and they just remind me a lot in terms of overall performance of the Sharks. This is a team that gets through the regular season just fine. They secure a playoff spot easily enough, but the last few seasons have kind of borne this out. I don't think they have what it takes to just finally finish it. The best way I can describe it is this is the Rangers team, and again, like the Sharks, this is a team that many times in the past few seasons, you've looked at them and said, okay, this is a really good team. This could be their year. They have the talent to go all the way, and they make the playoffs easily enough, and then they just can't get it done. Mm-hmm. That's what they are, and they are the Capitals. They are the Blues. They are the Sharks. This is just they are the fourth team in that grouping. I mean, and it's sort of come to the point where I'm saying the same thing I've said about the Capitals, the Sharks, and the Blues, where it's like they have to win something before I can pick them to actually win something.
Like the Chimps, right?
It seems unfair. I mean, it seems unfair, win something before I can say that you can win something, but they've squandered some great teams. So, I don't know.
It makes perfect sense. I get what you're saying.
I'm going with the I'm going to go with the Penguins. I think I don't even know, is Malkin even going to be back for the playoffs, for the first time?
I'm not sure, to be perfectly honest.
I mean, I guess I don't know. Even if he comes back, I don't think they're going to disrupt the system that they currently have. They're going to work him in some other way. But
I think just from a pure entertainment standpoint, I don't want the Rangers to win the series. Because if the Rangers play the Capitals again, I have no care for another Rangers-Capitals series. And even if the Flyers get the upset and the Rangers win, I don't know. The Rangers just don't strike me in any sort of way that makes me want to see them succeed in these playoffs. So I like Pittsburgh because either way you can get a Battle of Pennsylvania or you can get Ovechkin, Crosby, for the right to go to the conference final, and I'd be okay with.
Well, I will say this, that if I don't think they will, but should the Penguins wear their alternates against the Rangers, it'll be the best-looking series in the playoffs.
They just might.
Oh, man, that would be something, huh?
A lot of their ads for the playoffs have featured the Pittsburgh gold and black.
Yeah. I mean,
from the best-looking series in the playoffs if that happens.
From a pure aesthetic standpoint, we've got some great aesthetic-looking series. Penguins Rangers, if the Penguins wear their gold. Despite our hate for the Lightning Red Wings doesn't look terrible. Blackhawks Blues is a pretty solid uniform matchup. Can't really go wrong there. And I like Dallas Minnesota. I think that'll be a nice-looking series.
Oh, definitely.
Because Minnesota's going to wear their greens at home.
Yeah, but it's a different green than Dallas, which is really going to help.
Right. But to close out the Metro Division, just to get let's get our official picks. For the Capitals, Flyers, I'll go Caps in 6 or Caps in 5. Despite the potential for upset here, I think even though the Capitals are resting, I think Barry Trotz is a coach that can get them back on track and get them ready to go. And I think the Capitals know that of all the seasons, because this is such a great season that they've had, of all the seasons they cannot choke, it cannot be this one. They will come ready to play, at least in the first round. And then in the other series, I'll take Penguins in 6.
Mike?
I am going to take Penguins in 6. I think that's a good one. I'm gonna go with the Flyers.
Uh-oh.
I think now I'm gonna be fair to the Capitals. I'm gonna say Flyers in 7.
Just remember, you're picking Steve Mason.
I know I'm picking Steve Mason against Brendan Holtby, but I think there's just too much working against Capitals. 1, terrible goal differential in the first period. 2, they've been resting a lot. 3, Flyers are hot. I think if the Flyers can come out in that first game, knock the Caps around, the Capitals are going to be reeling. They're going to be thinking all sorts of crap. They're going to be thinking, oh no, it's happening again. And I think the Flyers can score maybe 1 or 2 wins early on. They probably shouldn't get by all rights, but they're going to get them, and that's going to help them down the road as the series progresses.
I like the Caps in a sweep. I think that I'm going to pick the sweep right out of the gate. I think the Caps are not going to mess around. So I take them in the sweep, and I'm with you guys, Penguins in 6 over the Rangers.
Move over to the Atlantic Division, where things are a little weird. Your division champion with 103 points, 47 wins, the Florida Panthers win the Atlantic Division. They will take on the wild card, the first wild card, your 100-point winner, New York Islanders. Now, the Islanders have been slumping pretty hard as of late. For the majority of the season, we had a destiny-filled matchup with the Rangers and Islanders. That would have been great. The Penguins started streaking up the standings, and the Islanders, they've gone down the standings. And their goaltending is in shambles with the injuries. Their starting goaltender right now is Thomas Greiss, who's a career backup and not a great option. Going up against a Florida team that they're just playing very well. Jaromir Jagr continues to defy the odds and play at a top level.
Seriously, how old is he now? 39, 40, somewhere in there?
76.
76?
I think he's 43.
Yeah, I was going to say 43, but I thought that sounded too old. But yeah.
No, I think he's 42, 43, something like that.
Yeah.
And Roberto Luongo has been very solid for them in net. The young kids they have grown into their roles, like Bukestad and Ekblad, and they're scoring well. And I really kind of like this Florida team. They've got something to them that I really, really enjoy, and I want to see success for this Panthers team.
I think the Panthers. I think the Panthers win it. The Islanders. I don't know. The Islanders. The Islanders remind me a lot of. This is going to seem like a strange comparison at first, but stay with me here. They kind of remind me of the Houston Texans of a few years back.
Okay, I get where you're going with that. Yeah.
This is a team that for a long time kind of seemed a bit hapless. They started to show small signs of improvement, finally kind of built themselves up to the point where they could, consistently make the playoffs. But honestly, they're probably – I think people want them to be better than they actually are.
I agree with that, yeah.
Is what I'm getting at. And, yeah, everyone – this Islanders team, especially with the injuries they've got – no, it's not happening. Sorry, and not against a Panthers team that quite frankly is firing on all cylinders. Everything's going right for them. In terms of an official prediction, I'm going to say Panthers in 5.
I think, the Islanders, they're a team that we want to do well, and when they had that series with the Penguins, where they damn near beat the Penguins that one year. You thought that this is a team that's destined for growth and is going
to be good. They have the young talent. They have a guy like John Tavares to be their leader, and things are just going to be on the up and up for the Islanders, and it's going to be great to see hockey thrive on Long Island. Now they're not playing in Long Island. They're playing in Brooklyn. They're playing in front of an SUV.
I mean, they're going to need a real breakout performance from the SUV if they hope to make, a go at this.
Yeah.
They're going to have to put the SUV in net. Like the goaltending, the injuries, that really bothers me. Like, there's nothing that can win or lose you a playoff series more than a goaltender. And the Islanders just they had this potential that they haven't capitalized on, and I don't think that they're going to do so here. And I too like the Panthers. I like 5. I like 5 too.
I'll go with that. Panthers and 5.
The other series
against the Florida team anyway. Now, yeah. Okay, go ahead.
They're your Panthers. The other series is a rematch that we saw last year. Mike's favorite rivalry, the Yzerman Cup. The Tampa Bay Lightning taking on the Detroit Red Wings in the playoffs for the 25th consecutive year. They had to scratch and claw to get into the playoffs. The Red Wings got some bad news today, as it was officially confirmed that Pavel Datsyuk, once the playoffs are over, will leave the team and go back to Russia, play in the KHL.
They offered him a big treasure. They offered him a treasure trove of rubles.
Right. He's going to spend time with his family, a.k.a. make billions of rubles playing in his home country. Going up against Tampa Bay that, Tampa Bay I thought would have been a lock for the series like a month ago, but they lost Steven Stamkos for 1 to 3 months with a blood clot in his arm that he had to have surgery. They had to take out a rib. They had to take out his top rib on his left side.
Such an odd way to be like, I don't know. You just never see that.
Wow.
Right. And Tyler Johnson went like headfirst into the boards last night, and so he's injured to start the playoffs as well.
He's small and tough and scrappy. He'll be okay.
Right. Well, he was undrafted,
Yeah.
Oh, God.
But, to take away the team's top 2 scoring threats, Ben Bishop's a pretty darn good goalie, but this is a weird series because the Red Wings are just grasping onto any straw they could to get in the playoffs, and now the Lightning, who were a Stanley Cup contender for sure, are without the services of Steven Stamkos and Tyler Johnson for the foreseeable future. So
I'm gonna say that's all true, but I'm still gonna pick Tampa Bay in this series because Detroit just is not. I mean, they just haven't seemed like a playoff team. They got in more off of Boston falling, face first than anything they ever did.
Boston had this thing all set up for them, and they just couldn't find their legs over the last couple of weeks.
So they don't strike me as a playoff team. Tampa Bay, they've lost Johnson, they've lost Stamkos. I still think they've got enough to them to get past this Red Wings team. Obviously, the injuries mean that they are no longer a Stanley Cup contender. I'm not predicting them to get past the second round, but I do think that they can get past the Red Wings. And you know what? I'll say the Red Wings push it to 7, but the Lightning are going to take it.
I'll go along with that.
Yeah.
I think the Lightning win the series. Ben Bishop's a good goalie, so I should preface this by saying if Bishop plays well, if he has one of those up and down series like we've seen other goalies have, then they're going to be in a lot of trouble because he can't score. He can only stop
Ben Bishop last year.
What's that?
Well, we saw Ben Bishop do last year against the Red Wings, where they got blown out in the first 2 games.
Right.
They blew out the next games. It was weird.
Yeah. So if he plays consistently well, they don't need to score an awful lot to win. But I'm with Mike. They win this series. That's as far as they go.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Lightning in 7 as well. If only to set up a all Florida series in the next round, which would be the first time that's happened, which would be pretty fun, I think, and kind of important for the Panthers, I think, overall.
That would be a fun series, an all Florida series. I also kind of want to see what the attendance is like on that.
Could it be the first time that there's more Lightning fans in a building
for a playoff game?
Or on the road at least? That'd be crazy, right? We'll see how that plays out. So that's the Eastern Conference. Over in the West. Do you want to stop it or keep going?
No, go ahead. You're good. Keep going.
In the West, over in the Central Division, your Western Conference top seed, the Dallas Stars, the only team in the West to hit the 50-win plateau, 109 points. They will be taking on the team that occupies the city from whence they left 25 years ago. 24 years ago. 23 years ago. The Minnesota Wild, who, again, a team that's just, if it weren't for the Avalanche falling on their own ass, the Wild wouldn't be in the playoffs. They've been terrible over the last few weeks. And they were getting criticized in the media for just not, locking it down and playing better. And they got booed off their home ice the night that they ended up clinching the playoff spot because they lost. They clinched was because Colorado clinched or because Colorado lost. So Dallas is a high-scoring team. They will be without Tyler Seguin for, I think, the majority of the series. Still recovering.
They're going to be without
a slice of his Achilles tendon, but
they are going to be without Tyler Seguin. But I think Dallas has had a pretty phenomenal season in their own right, kind of overshadowed by Washington's dominance. Not obviously Washington being the President's Trophy winner, but Dallas has had a pretty strong showing this year. I'm actually really excited for the series. As we mentioned, it's going to be a great looking series. Both teams really like to utilize green, but in very different ways.
That North Star storyline, though,
North Star storyline is what makes this, I think, must see.
Oh yeah, because the first two games of Dallas are going to be whatever. The first game in Minnesota, where the Stars are the villains in a playoff series, like you can't write that. That is brilliant. But
here's my question though: it's been 20 some odd years. Is it still that big a deal in Minnesota? I mean, I don't know. I'm asking.
Yes.
Okay.
Every time the Stars play up there, you see so many North Stars jerseys in the crowd, and even when the Stars aren't playing, you still see a ton of North Stars jerseys in the crowd. It's so much so that when they had the outdoor game, the alumni team wore North Star jerseys.
It was a North Stars alumni game.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. It's really a situation where I think the North Stars are more popular now once they've left than they ever were while they were there.
I don't know. They were pretty popular.
No, they weren't. No, they weren't. They had attendance issues. They left for a good reason. And it's really a case.
They didn't put 30,000 people a game, but their fans were loyal. The ones that they had, weren't they?
Yeah,
I always thought they were. Because the Gold Diggers were a developmental team for the North Stars, so we had kind of a connection with them. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, I think overall, though, Dallas is just so much more talented than this Minnesota team. Minnesota, again, one of those teams that, like the Islanders, had so much promise. They made that when they upset the Blues last year and they played, I forget who they played before, but they, every time they thought they had some momentum, they kept running into the Blackhawks and getting buzzsawed like most teams did in the Central Division. But the Wild just, there's nothing that I like about that team, really. I mean, they play hard, but goaltending-wise, Devin Dubnyk isn't Devin Dubnyk of last year. Ryan Suter is a very good defenseman, but he can't do it all on his own, even though he plays like 45 minutes a night. Zach Parise can score a bit, but I don't – there's nothing that tells me that this Minnesota team has a chance to beat the Stars over a 7-game series. The Stars are just faster, more talented. I don't ultimately think the Stars will win the Cup or even contend for it, but in this particular series, I don't think it's a contest. I'm going to go ahead and say Stars in a sweep.
Yeah, that seems about right.
The Stars sweep the Wild on Minnesota ice. Like the more interesting stuff is going to be in the stands, but that's
I want to use an analogy for the Wild really quick here. They remind me of just the past few seasons here. They're like the perennial 9-7 team that makes the playoffs in the NFL. Like they're just good enough to get there, but not good enough to do much else after they get there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, not with the same level. The other comparisons or the other factors out of this, they're kind of like the Dallas Cowboys in a way, where it's just like they're going to be 8-8, 7 or 9-7, and maybe they make playoffs. What they do, then yeah, cool, you made the playoffs. But
they seem like they're kind of stuck in the dreaded middle almost. Like they can't get bad enough to get good, and they're not good enough to really do anything with it. Anyway, I'm with you. I take the Stars. I'll say that Minnesota gets 1 just because of the crowd and all that, so I'm going to give them Dallas in 5.
I don't know. This Minnesota team is just – they're even more uninspired than this Red Wings team, to be perfectly honest. At least you could say that the Red Wings, clawed themselves into contention, whereas, I don't know, the Wild were just sort of there, and then they – didn't fail nearly bad enough to screw things up. I don't know. I am completely uninspired by this Wild team, and I don't expect them to accomplish anything. So I'm going to agree with Zach and say they don't accomplish anything. It's going to be a sweep. The Stars are going to sweep the Wild in Minnesota. It's just going to be bloody, and there's going to be tears.
That excites me kind of. I wish the Wild were a little bit better. I wish the Wild were better, so this could be like a real blood feud type thing. Mm-hmm. But
I just can't believe they're still carrying a grudge all these years later up there.
I don't know if it's a grudge, but it's something that'll be evident. Like you're not going to not notice it. It'll be brought up. The other series, on paper, without any history in a vacuum, this seems like a gargantuan series. But in reality, it probably won't play out that way. The St. Louis Blues, wishful thinking, I guess. 107 points, 49 wins, just 2 points behind the Stars for the top spot. They get with the Central Division, it was strange. The fight for the division title was important because nobody wanted to fall down to number 2. And despite them having a subpar season by their standards, or at least visually, you look at the record, 103 points, 47 wins, they're still a darn good team. The first American-born scoring champion in Patrick Kane. The Chicago Blackhawks lurked as the 3 seed, and they will be the lower-seeded team in the matchup between the Blues and the Blackhawks. I said this on the boards. I think in a physical nature, in a a realistic sense, yes, the Blues can beat the Blackhawks.
No, they cannot.
but I mean, in a physical, on ice, physical skill set sense, they could. However, it's everything in between the ears. The Blues, they have some real mental roadblocks in these playoffs. It's been the Kings and it's been the Blackhawks, and the Blackhawks, like I said, they've kind of been subpar. Duncan Keith was suspended. He'll be suspended for the first game of this series.
Yeah, and then after game 1, the T-1000's activated.
Right, and he's been fully charged. I think the Blackhawks have been a little bit underwhelming, but this is the playoffs. This is when the Blackhawks do their thing. They have played a lot of hockey in the past few years, sure, but the Blues are also going to be without David Backes, and if you're a Blues fan, this is the worst thing that could have happened to you. Yeah. You would so much rather play Minnesota, even though they lost to Minnesota last year. You don't want to have to play the Blackhawks again. It's just going to be another Blues season all over again, and the Blackhawks are going to move on, I think.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh.
I think I'm going to you know what? I'm just going to say what happened last time. Blackhawks in 6.
The St. Louis taking the first 2?
I don't know if I'm not going to go so far as to say what order it's going to be in, but I like the Hawks in 6. Again, the Blues, they're one of those teams where at a certain point the onus falls on them to actually prove they can do something.
I'm really, really tempted to say, okay, I'm going to give them one more shot.
You said that last year.
I know, but I'm not going to. I'm not going to do. I'm not falling for it this year. This is what I think. Here's what's going to happen. I think St. Louis is going to come out, take the first 2 games of the series, and everyone's going to go, "Oh my God!" No, 4 in a row from the Blackhawks. They win it in 6. That's that. I'm not falling for it again, St. Louis. I'm sorry. I love you, but I can't do it this time. You're on your own. I'm with Mike. You've got to prove it to me before I'm going to pick you ever again. So there you go.
Yeah, I like Blackhawks in 6 as well. Just
something else to consider. Just one more. I hate to stop you, Zach, but I do feel that you should have this information before you go into your analysis. With the Rams moving to Los Angeles, Eastern Missouri Shaman is going to start draining potential success from the Blues now to fuel Cardinals.
He's going to start draining potential success from the Blues now? What was he doing before?
But before, he was just bloodletting the Rams.
Right, but I mean, if the Blues could do this without his help.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Is it possible for them to lose the game lose the series in 2 games if the Shaman gets involved? I think they're going to take the first 2 and then they lose the next 4. That's what I think happens here.
I think they'll take game 1, maybe. I mean, but it's not going to matter. The Blackhawks are the reigning champs. There's no reason to doubt them.
Yep.
And yeah. We will conclude with the Pacific Division in the Western Conference. Now, things aren't officially settled. There's still 7 minutes remaining in this Ducks game, but they are leading 2-0, and they're playing pretty well tonight. So I'm not going to say that the Capitals, who are resting guys like Alex Ovechkin, and they have their backup goalie in net, I'm going to go ahead and, I'm tempted to do this because I really hate doing it normally, but I'm just going to assume the Ducks are going to win this game here. Mm-hmm. And that would make them the Pacific Division champions, the number 1 seed in the Pacific, and they would take on the Nashville Predators. 96 points, 41 wins, but 14 overtime losses for those Preds this season. The Predators, they've been chugging along. They've been pretty solid. They had a little slump in the middle, but they're pretty much what we know to be the Predators. Pekka Rinne in net, he's been okay this year. They've added some scoring threats, but not like deadly scoring threats, I don't think. There's the team that still kind of plays hard and plays within a structure, even with Peter Laviolette in town as their coach, and they're all right. The Ducks, on the other hand, Jesus, what a season it's been for this team. They were so bad the first 2 weeks or 2 months of the season.
Tell me about it. Yep.
But ever since the Christmas break, they have been the number 1 team in the league in terms of their point percentage, number 1 team in goals allowed, number 1 team in power play percentage, power play goals, and second in goal differential, only to the record-setting Washington Capitals. And Mike and I were just talking about this a little bit, but I like this Ducks team even more than I did last year in terms of their potential for tight games, long series, a long playoff run, because when they started last season, they could overcome these deficits, and they were winning all these 1-goal games, and it was kind of just uncanny how they had that ability. And to start off this year, they couldn't score, and they were bad. But even when they started to turn it around, they still weren't scoring a whole lot. But defensively, they had to change their structure, and they got back down to basics, and they really started to latch down defensively. And they've been right now, if the score holds up, they will win the Jennings Trophy as the team that allowed the least amount of goals during the season. And they're also the first team since the '83 Islanders to finish the season with the top power play and top penalty kill. And special teams are so much more important in the playoffs, where every little thing is heightened. They have 2 goaltenders that I'm confident in, either one of them, whether it's John Gibson or Frederick Anderson. If they need to flip them out, I'm confident that the next guy up can win, and they can grind it out. They block shots, they play defense, and they can score the important goals. So I like this Ducks team a whole lot, whereas this Predators team is just kind of a meh Predators team. And obviously I'm going to be a homer, look at the Ducks in a positive light, but in the series, and I like them for a pretty decent run.
Well, I just want to say,
think this team.
Go ahead, Mike. I was going to bitch about the Ducks, but go ahead. You go first.
I was going to say that this Ducks team impresses me even more so than last year. As Zach said, this is a team that's firing on all cylinders when it comes to special teams. Top penalty kill, top power play, And on top of that, again, on track to win the Jennings Trophy, least amount of goals. So I see a team that has been on fire for the second half of the season. They're on track when it comes to limiting the opposition's goal output. Fantastic special teams. Everything seems aligned for them to make a deep run at the Cup. They've got to be one of my favorites to come out of the West, if not the favorite.
I would just say, first off, I have a couple of bones to pick with the Ducks. Corey Perry, if you'd played halfway decent at all, even just the first month of the season, my Gold Diggers would have made the playoffs, so thank you for that. And secondly...
and by the way, let's give a quick shout-out to the back-to-back CHL champion World Cup winners 2 years in a row. In the first 2 years in the league, your Thunder Bay Bolts.
Uh-huh.
No.
Thank you, everybody.
Oh, wait, yes, yeah. No.
We joined the league at the same time.
The Montreal Maroons were the York Cup champs your first season in the league.
These are the first 2 years.
No, they're not.
We joined at the same time. This is our third season. You and I both came at the same time. Yeah.
No.
Yes, because I remember there was a weird thing because of all the relocations that offseason. Montreal was in the West, and we actually beat Thunder Bay in the Western Conference Finals the year that Montreal won it.
Yeah, it's my third year in the league, Zach. So yeah, it might even be my fourth. No, it's my third, but
it's third. Your third.
But anyway, yeah, just to point something else out too. Your Org Cup champions with 7 wins, and the Toledo Gold Diggers with 12 wins sat home all season. So thanks for that too, Anaheim.
All right.
Anyway, go ahead. I can't hear you. What are you saying?
But yes, congrats to Zach and the Thunder Bay Bolts keeping the Org Cup in the Bass compound.
This is true. We'll give him that. Yeah. I think he won more games in the playoffs than he did in the actual regular season, but that's another story. Anyway,
you are right. It's been 3 years, but continue.
Anyway, yeah, I think the things you brought up about the Ducks with the defense, the least amount of goals given. That stuff's all very, very important in any sport. Any defense wins championships, so I think the Ducks take this one easily over the Purds. So yeah, I like the Ducks in this one.
Yeah, I like this team. The Ducks and Predators, for history's sake, they met in the playoffs once before. The Predators winning in 6 games. That was kind of a weird series. I hated that series. It was stupid. But yeah, I like the Ducks. I don't feel anything about the Predators this season.
You were
just a team that's there.
You mentioned earlier, Zach, off air that this Predators team is very Florida Panthers. That's not Florida Panthers this season necessarily, but just kind of generally in that they've gotten fat. Yeah, they've kind of gotten fat off of overtime losses.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we saw what happened when the Panthers made a run to the playoffs a few seasons back on overtime losses, and they lost 3 games in overtime. So
it's the old 41-41. Strategy,
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So the Ducks have been absolutely lights out for months now. The Predators are just sort of getting by basically not being bad enough to not make the playoffs. So I've got to give it to the Ducks. In terms of games, I'm going to say 5 games, Ducks in 5, and at least 2 of those Ducks wins will be in OT.
I'm going to go Ducks in. I'm going to be 6, just to be careful.
I'm going to go 6 also. I don't know why. I just got a gut feeling on it.
Yeah, I mean the Ducks aren't blowing anybody away, so it could be one of those things where hell, you look at the first round against Winnipeg last year. For the first 3 games, the Ducks led for 53 seconds, and had a 3-0 series advantage.
Yeah, but they're not, like you said, though, they're not doing that this year, where they're not coming back all the time, because there's only so long you can do that and get away with it, and it's good they're not doing that again this year.
It's been something that I don't typically take note of, but
have noticed it this season that the Ducks have been so much better structurally than in the past in terms of their forecheck, their defensive zone coverage, how they clog up the neutral zone. This is just a better team. It's just simply better than last year, I think. In the last series, another all-California matchup. I believe this is the second time these two teams will go at it, and we remember the last time very, very fondly. The Los Angeles Kings will be the second seed, taking on the San Jose Sharks. Kings finished with 102 points, 48 wins. Sharks, 98 points, 46 wins in the season. Last time these two teams played, of course, Sharks had a 3-0 lead, and then they didn't. And the Kings went on to win the Cup that year back in 2014.
I'm going to
talk on another Kings-Sharks extravaganza.
I'm going to say Kings in 6. This, just like Blackhawks Blues, this has Sharks mental errors written all over it.
Mm-hmm.
So, does anyone really? I mean, okay, you could say the Sharks are going to be out for blood, right? Because they want to make amends for what happened, yada yada yada. But this is a Sharks team that has, regardless of opponent, proven that they will find a way to lose playoff series that they probably should win, and they're not even really clear-cut favorites in this one. You add in the mental issues. The Kings are going to win it in 6. It'll look like it's a close series for a while before the Kings just sort of pull away, and that'll be that, and the Sharks will get sent home again.
I'm going to go against the grain on this. I'll tell you why. First off, the Kings are in first place, which is like an unusual spot for them, right? So you got that. Secondly, I think San Jose. What's that?
For the next minute and 29 seconds, the Kings are in first place.
You're right. That's true. Yeah, I'm looking at the current standings. I keep forgetting that the Anaheim's playing right now. But anyway, I look at it like this. I think that San Jose they're going to get their revenge in this series. They're going to win this. That's going to get all the fans fired up and thinking this might be the year we actually do it. They'll lose in the next round. But I think they beat the Kings in this series. I think it goes 7. No, because there's no way San Jose wins the 7th game. So let me rephrase that. I'm going to say San Jose in 6. I think they win this series, get the hopes up just to be dashed to the next round. That's what I think.
Yeah,
I'll probably be wrong, but there's got to be an upset somewhere.
Before Greg said it, that's where I was going to go. I think the Sharks have kind of flown under the radar this year. And I think there are things that I kind of like about them. I like their goaltending better than years past, whether it's Martin Jones or James Reimer. They've been playing very well for them. Defensively, they've been pretty all right. I like the scoring. Like, somehow Joe Thornton hasn't died yet. He hasn't dropped off. Brent Burns has really kind of emerged on the back end as their number one Chewbacca. I mean, defenseman. And, the Kings, they haven't been playing all that great lately. And, I've seen it up close and personal. Like, I was at the Kings-Ducks game on Thursday, and seeing when the Kings want to, they can really shut it down and lock you up. And, Jonathan Quick can be on, just unbeatable for a while. But the Kings still have the problem of they can't score goals. They've scored a bit more this year, but everything they do is so razor thin. There's something that I like about the Sharks where I think that they can do it. I think they can beat the Kings, beat them in 6. But again, like Greg, I think they're going to grind it out and have to beat the Kings in a tough 6-game series, and then get smothered by the Ducks in the next round.
Yeah,
I think it's the way
they're gonna put all their efforts into getting revenge from that series from 2 years ago. Give their all for that, and that's gonna empty the tank for the next round. But I do think they win this series.
Yeah, I give it to Sharks in an upset. To close our whole Stanley Cup playoff talk out, why don't we pick some conference champions and a Stanley Cup winner?
Okay,
Mike, you want to go first?
Okay. I'm going to say in the East, In the East, Pittsburgh.
You want the Rangers? You know it. Come on.
No. I'm
Okay.
going to go Pittsburgh.
There's really only 3 options in the West, so
Pittsburgh. Let's see. Can Pittsburgh Philadelphia happen in
in the second round.
In the second round, yeah. Okay, so Pittsburgh.
Just pick conference champions. I don't care who they beat.
Yeah, okay. So I'm going to put okay, conference champions. Pittsburgh's going to win it in the East. In the West, I'm actually going to say the Ducks.
All right.
I think the Ducks have all the tools necessary to make a deep run. I think Chicago's been faltering this year. I think Dallas Dallas is a good team. I just think Anaheim's better, so it's going to be Ducks, Penguins, and in the finals, honestly, I got to pick the Ducks. I like everything about this team.
Well, you should like that they just shut out the Capitals in the regular season finale and win the Pacific Division.
Hey, there you go. Congratulations, Zach.
Hey,
I mean, everything about this Ducks team just screams deep playoff run. And, last season, it was heartache last season. But you know what that also means? It means that they have experience now. They have a bit more experience when it comes to deep playoff runs. And I think that they're able to cash that in. And this is their year. So Anaheim over Pittsburgh in the Stanley Cup Finals.
Out of the East, I really want to pick the Panthers, but I'm not going to. I think that the Cap.
By the way, sorry. The team I was trying to think of for the Penguins to beat was the Panthers, and even though the Panthers have had a remarkable season, I had completely forgotten they were in the playoffs.
No, a lot like the people in Florida. I understand.
Yeah, it's like the most okay. Sorry.
I think the Capitals are gonna. I think they actually make the finals this year. I think they're gonna do it. Out of the West, I'm with you guys. I like the Ducks, man. I mean, Chicago has just played so much hockey for the past how many years has it been now? Where it's just been deep run after deep run after deep run, and that eventually catches up with it because you're almost at the point now where you've added an entire season of hockey over the past 3 or 4 years. So I think it's just going to be that, and the Ducks. I haven't watched them much this season, but if everything Zach is saying is correct, and I see them as the team to beat at this point. So I think the Ducks take out the Caps in the final. So
for my predictions, I've seen kind of a theme in the NHL this year. Now let's see if you can pick it up. There are no Canadian teams in the playoffs this year.
Mm-hmm.
We just had our first ever American-born scorer, or leading scorer, Art Ross Trophy winner, Patrick Kane. So for my Stanley Cup final, just to continue the giant middle finger that we've been putting up to Canada all season, Ducks, Panthers, Stanley Cup final.
A Sun Belt final. Ooh.
Anaheim, Florida, with the Ducks taking it. Screw the haters. Go Ducks.
I want to pick the Panthers, but I tell you, man, you know what, though? Why would I not fall for the trap with St. Louis, not fall for it with San Jose, and fall for it again with the Capitals? What the hell would I be thinking there? I'm going to stick with it, though. I think the Caps get to the finals, but I think that's as far as it gets. They do not win the Cup. I think the Ducks take it. Ladies and gentlemen, Zach's Tabs.
Zach's Tabs!
Wow. So you guys know the stadium, the football stadium there in Miami?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How it's had many a name during its lifespan?
Got another one, doesn't it?
It started off as Joe Roby Stadium. That one went on for a good while, from 87 to 96. Pro Player Park was there for one year. It then changed its name to Pro Player Stadium from 96 to 2005. That's how I remember it best. Then they decided to get rid of the Pro Player part, and now it was just Dolphin Stadium
from 06 to 09. 2 years as Land Shark Stadium.
I remember Land Shark Stadium.
Dumbest name ever, but I think we're about to top it.
Well, it was Sun Life Stadium from 2010 to 2016, so a good run there again. It's getting yet another name change.
Okay.
According to the Miami Times, the new stadium will be called New Miami Stadium.
That's it?
What?
Even though it's been there since 1987.
Why?
What's the logic
I
behind
don't
that?
know. They're losing the naming rights, I guess, and so it's gonna be New Miami Stadium.
But it's not,
even though it's the old Miami thing.
So New Miami isn't the name of some group or company that's bought the naming rights.
No, after the Sun Life naming rights expired last month, owner Stephen Ross of the Miami Dolphins decided to not return to just to Dolphin Stadium, but just decided to call it New Miami Stadium.
But it's not
new.
Stadium, of course, not very new.
Okay.
It's just,
God, is it
as far as I can tell, there's no actual reasoning for calling it new other than just to trick people.
Okay, look, I know that Miami sports fans don't pay a lot of attention to most things, but they're sharp enough to figure out that that's the same old stadium it was 20 years ago. They're not going to fall for it. Really quick on the Dolphins, they have a petition going down here to try to get them to switch to the throwbacks full time. Somebody asked me to sign it.
They ought to, yeah.
I said, sure, I'll sign it. But, New Miami Stadium, huh? All right.
New Miami Stadium. It's not like it's not like old Miami, like if it was Old Town or something like that.
Well, see, I thought like what Mike said, like it was the name of a company, like New Miami. It's just a tricky play on words type of thing.
Right. Yeah, it is not that.
So it's just stupid then.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. It's just another stupid name for a stupid stadium that has had one too many names. But speaking of stadium names, so Sports Authority Field in Denver, Sports Authority, the company, they declared Chapter 11 bankruptcy back in February. So there was some question as to whether that means that they might have to sell their naming rights or get rid of them for the stadium at Mile High. Mm-hmm. So there is a marijuana dispensary in Denver that offered up its availability for naming rights.
Oh God!
The announcement was April Fool's Day, but the owner said it's serious. It's not a joke. So if nobody even knows Sports Authority is going to have to give it the rights or not, but if they do, be on the lookout. Native Roots Stadium at Mile High.
How great would that be? Come on. I mean, just how great would that be?
That would be fantastic, but I so don't see John Elway even humoring that.
Well, that's the thing too. Let's say that it got past Elway and the group in Denver. Does Roger Goodell and the NFL even let that happen? I mean, can you really?
Considering that they suspended a guy for smoking a joint for longer than they suspended a guy for punching his wife's lights out.
Exactly.
I
league
know.
that has got just really, such outdated viewpoints. I mean, you can't smoke a joint. They're not going to let you name a field. And it would be ridiculous, too, to have a field named after marijuana and you're not allowed to smoke pot as a player. But it would still be great. It would be awesome. I'm just thinking of all the, like the logo, a big pot leaf. That would be pretty funny. Okay.
Next up, let's talk a little baseball. What do you say?
All right.
Baseball.
Yeah, well, it's actually started, believe it or not.
Yeah, I was unaware. I'd like to be a little bit less aware, considering how the Angels look they're going to be this season.
Ooh, they're not going to be good.
But opening day started. Normally, everybody, very excited for opening day, right? Opening day it's a great time of the year. It lets the people up north know that spring is a thing that exists and it will happen soon enough.
Soon. Not quite yet, but soon.
And it's something that we down here are like, oh, yeah, opening day? All right, I guess.
That's true, because it's like if you live in the warm weather, you're like, oh, that's right, baseball started. I mean, that's literally, usually it's something that I'm clinging to because it's a sign that winter's finally going to be over. This year I'm like, oh, that's right, baseball's on today. He's like, yeah.
Yeah, baseball on today, yeah.
But of course, all that
just drove
anticipation
8 hours through a snowstorm. Okay.
Well,
okay,
go ahead.
All that anticipation and hype was not matched by the manager of the Arizona Diamondbacks, Chip Hale.
Yeah.
He was quoted after opening day. Somebody asked him about how exciting it is for opening day, and he told the media, "You guys built it up really good. You did a nice job of it. I said before the game, you guys really hyped it up. Every opening day is opening day. It means no more than tomorrow's game." And Shelby Miller, as a pitcher for the Diamondbacks, he was going to make his debut in the next game. So he responded, "Yeah, you guys will probably just build it up the way that tonight was built up. I'm sure they'll do a good job of that too."
Jesus Christ. Right. The entire Arizona Diamondbacks turned into a team of bring back the vets?
Well, dude, look at the uniforms they have to wear. I'd be in a shitty mood, too.
Okay, true.
Actually, I've noticed in the few games that they played so far, a lot of that teal-lined alternate.
Yeah, they were wearing it the other night when I watched them.
They've definitely been emphasizing the less egregious of their sets, which I think is going to become the primary set.
I want to see when they go on the road the first time to see those ridiculous dark gray charcoal things that they wear. But yeah,
and in the vein of cranky baseball managers, this is another thing that I really want to get to and at least get your opinion on it, Greg. The slide rule, the new slide rule, the Chase Utley rule, as it's been called, was brought into play, and Mike, your Toronto Blue Jays were the first victims of it on opening day. Manager John Gibbons, basically saying after the game, tomorrow we might just come out and wear dresses. The rule, basically, the rule is if you slide out of the baseline and you interrupt the play, then they can rule you out. Right? That's
it's a whole bunch of nonsense, is what it is.
What do you think of the implication of the new slide rule, as it's cost a couple more teams some anger and some games here early on in the first week of the year?
I think it was well intentioned. I think it was a thing where because I think was it Buster Posey that they basically lost for a season or whatever. I don't remember exactly what the circumstances were. It's a good intention, but man, oh man, it's not working out in practical application at all. There's got to be something done about it because it's just ridiculous.
Look, I understand the drive to make football safer. Because football is, by its very nature, a violent game, and toning that down a bit in the name of player safety probably isn't the worst idea. But this is goddamn baseball.
I think if we had a lot of collisions at home plate, I could see. I think this is kind of a bit of an overreaction because you had a star player get hurt in a situation like that, but. If you think about it, and I know you guys don't watch as much baseball as I do, but a catcher getting run over at home plate, it isn't like it happens every game. It's something that happens once in a great while, but they've got to fix it because it's really gotten silly. I was watching a replay. I think it was from last year, maybe, or maybe it was this year. It was a Marlins game where the similar thing happened, and they were the announcers were just beside themselves. But yeah, it's got to be fixed. It's terrible.
Not great.
Not great. No.
I too understand the meaning of the rule, but the reason that it got brought in for the Chase Utley thing was last year when Chase Utley did that, he was sliding after he'd already touched the base.
Yeah.
It was just this is the amount that's going to be used, and that players and managers are going to get upset over it. It's not important. It's kind of like the blocking the plate rule with the catchers.
That's what I was thinking of. What you're referring to, but yeah, you're talking about the sliding on the base paths rule. Yeah. It's. I guess to me, it's like they're fixing a problem that really, again, like if it happened every game,
at the time.
Yeah, once in a great while, it's just going to happen. It's just the way it goes. But yeah.
So we'll see how that plays out. But angry baseball managers all over the country already.
What are we, 4 or 5 games into the season?
Yeah, right. Baseball's just prone to like crotchety old men. It's just it's a way
it really is. It really is. It's
well, you had that Adam LaRoche thing,
Oh my God. Right.
Which was apparently caused by just a lot of angry people in the White Sox organization finally just exploding at each other.
What was it? Because he was bringing his kid to the locker room was the problem?
He was bringing his kid to the locker room, and then because he's like a creepy person who doesn't trust the school systems.
Wow.
And then, so he gave up $13 million. He retired and gave up $13 million. And then, like, a friend of his started, like, a GoFundMe for $13 million so he could have the money that he had lost.
Okay. Because the $13 million he made last season wasn't enough to get him through, say, a year or two?
And the actual donations to that thing were just comic gold. Like, just absolutely amazing. But, yeah, I digress.
Bryce Harper's right. This game needs to lighten up. And soon, because the crotchety old man thing is not working in this generation. Because just the further away, like the younger, like as we go along here, the young people just can't relate to the crotchety old man stuff anymore. It just doesn't work. But anyway, I digress too. So yeah.
But that's that. But speaking of old men, to the new hotness, Twitter won the rights to stream Thursday Night Football online this season.
I don't get that.
I guess they're going to have like a video application in Twitter that you'll be able to watch it online.
Yeah,
The best I can figure is that the NFL is taking a chance to see if this is viable. This is just purely let's just see what happens sort of thing.
Yeah. It just seems like I get it. It's the NFL, and I get that Twitter's a big thing, but they don't seem like a natural match to me. I mean, it's fine. It's going to work. I'm sure it'll be just fine, but it just seemed odd to me that Twitter, of all places, would say we want to stream NFL games, because you don't think of Twitter as a place to watch video, I guess is what I'm saying. I mean, YouTube, along those lines, yeah, but Twitter, I'm like, okay.
Well, Facebook was also in the running, too, and they were trying hard to get it.
Who was?
But just Facebook.
See, that makes a little more sense, I think, but...
Does it, Lou?
Well, I don't know. You can watch videos on Twitter, too. Well, I don't know. What happened to Yahoo? Aren't they doing it anymore?
I think Yahoo is still going to be involved, too, but the NFL is just trying to get more money added to the pie. You know how that works.
Yep.
Last thing that we'll get to here, or last couple things. Jim Nantz has some weird tradition where he gives out ties to basketball players.
Pies?
To college ties.
Oh, ties. Oh, that's okay. That's not quite as weird. Okay. I'm picturing Jim Nantz like, here's your pumpkin pie for playing well in the basketball game. All right.
No, he finds a senior player that he has enjoyed, and it's not always after championship games; it's after regular games sometimes, I guess. And he gives them a tie. If you were a young aspiring college athlete trying to do his best, Jim Nantz came up to you and said, "Hey kid, you did a good job. Here's a tie." What's your reaction?
I'm an old guy and I don't want a tie. Like, no, give me some money. That's what I'd say.
I'm not sure. I think I would just kind of be flabbergasted. I'd probably just go, thank you, and then he'd walk away happy with himself, and then I'd throw the tie in my closet and probably never wear it.
Does anybody ever really want a tie? I get it. You've got to have them, but do you ever sit back and go, man, I wish somebody would buy me a tie.
No, not really. Yeah. I mean,
like, Mike, do you have to wear ties for work?
Yes, except on Fridays.
Okay, so do you ever sit back and go, man, for my birthday this year, I hope somebody buys me like 6 ties? You never even think that, do you? No, that's what I'm saying.
I hate ties.
So
I hate wearing them, and they make the worst gifts. And I have all the ties I could ever possibly need, so I see absolutely no need for more.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, is it supposed to be because it's from Jim Nantz that makes it special? I guess. I don't know. It's a shitty gift. That's what I think.
And of course, Jim Nantz did this after what has to be one of the most amazing finishes to a championship game of any caliber that I've seen.
Yeah.
Obviously, we finished up our glorious victory NCAA tournament. I almost don't have words to describe the end of that game between North Carolina and Villanova. The North Carolina shot was
unreal. And for Villanova to come down the floor in the time it had and just sink that three with such confidence was something.
It was. I don't know. I mean, now I don't watch college basketball like I used to, but I can't think of a better finish to a championship game in the NCAA than that. I don't think there ever has been one, really. There's been a couple of last-second shots here and there, but that was just an amazing run of basketball there for like the last, 8 or 10 seconds or whatever it was. It was pretty incredible.
Yeah, I know this isn't a big deal up in the northern reaches, Mike, but
No.
This is pretty. I think you're right though, Greg. This has to be the best finish in NCAA history for basketball, at least. It goes up there with the likes of like the shot and stuff like that. But
yeah, I'm trying to think of there was a Christian Laettner, the Kentucky Duke game from years and years ago, but it was it was incredible.
Almost had it with the Gordon Hayward against Duke. We almost had it there, but this has got to do it, especially just because. You look at that first North Carolina shot, he had to double pump in the air and like maneuver his body and just throw it up. It was like, there's no way that he could slide that again and make it.
Yeah, and they think they've got it won at that point, you know. And it's just wow, it was pretty. Yeah, it was something.
Yep. But that's all I got.
All right.
All I know about the whole college basketball scene is that the winners of this tournament are ultimately the losers because most of them will end up being drafted by the Charlotte Hornets.
Well, the thing is, like, it's interesting with these two teams too. Most of them aren't. Most of the guys on that team aren't one and done type prospects. There were a lot of seniors, long-time basketball players on that team. It was something a little bit different, which was nice.
Yeah, especially for like two, traditional basketball schools like Villanova and North Carolina, where you would expect them to be more like Kentucky than like Northern Iowa, or whoever that team was that made the half court shot to win the game, which was pretty impressive in its own right. But is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
All right. Well, I guess that's going to do it for us this week. Congratulations again to Chip Mariachi Band for taking home the 2016 Glorious Tournament of Victory. I keep hearing myself echo back. Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports. Go to the website. Listen to all the old episodes, basicallysportshow.com. You can find us on Facebook. Subscribe to the show on iTunes, Stitcher, Spreaker, and the YouTubes. And with that, we are done.
See ya.
Bye.